Come with me for a day in Juneau, Alaska. This was our second port on our Alaskan cruise, and we started off our day by sailing into Juneau, so we got some beautiful scenery as we came in. For this day, we scheduled a helicopter tour, and as you can see by the clouds, we were a little worried we might not be able to take the tour. But if you see really closely here, there is an airplane flying, so we were hopeful in the morning. Our tour was for 12:30, and around 11:30 we got the call that it had to be canceled. So we tasked my dad with getting off the boat and going to see what else we could do that day. He found us a combination tour where we would go whale watching and then to see Mendenhall Glacier. When you're in the Juneau port, you're right in the middle of town, so you can walk and see the town, but we went ahead and hopped on our bus to take us to the whale watching tour. One thing I learned is that all whale tails are different. Their tail is kind of like their fingerprint. Then we hopped on our boat. There was an upstairs and a downstairs. We chose to sit downstairs because we would get less wet down there. It was raining and drizzling pretty much all day in Juneau. Once we got out where the whales were, we went upstairs. Even though it was raining, we didn't mind getting wet because seeing the whales was so cool. Juneau is a really big place for humpback whales to hang out and eat for at least half of the year. Orca whales are more transient and you're not as likely to see them in Juneau. However, we did get to see them, although I didn't get a very good picture. And look, this is a whale tail. I know these videos pretty much look the same, but we did see two sets of mama whales and their babies and a few other whales as well. Whales are also so much louder than I expected them to be. You can hear when they blow through their blowhole. Of course, whales are a lot bigger than dolphins, but I think because I'm somewhat used to seeing dolphins, I just didn't expect them to be as loud as they were. The whales were putting on a really good show for us, just playing around, and some of the sea lions were actually just playing with them, which seems kind of crazy because whales are so much bigger than sea lions. Then the sea lions came over and just put on a show for us as well. Even though our original tour that we had booked for this day got canceled, we ended up having such a great time. And we had originally decided to skip the whale watching tour in hopes that we would just see whales on our cruise, but we were so glad that we ended up doing a whale watching tour because then we didn't have to worry about seeing whales on the cruise, which we actually haven't seen any whales from our cruise ship. So I highly recommend, if you're going to Juneau in Alaska, go on a whale watching tour. We were only out on the water for 2 hours and we saw so many whales as well as sea lions and an eagle. After those 2 hours were up, we went back to the harbor and then got on another bus that took us to Mendenhall Glacier. We were dropped off near the visitor center where you can take a short hike to see a better view of Mendenhall Glacier, or you could take a little bit longer of a hike to go down to some waterfalls. Mendenhall Glacier is also located within the Tongass National Forest, which is a rainforest. And actually a large part of the coastline that we've been sailing in on our cruise has been part of this rainforest. I also had no idea that there were rainforests other than tropical rainforests. We decided to hike down to Nugget Falls, which was about a mile from the visitor center, so it is 1 mile down and 1 mile back. The hike just had a couple little uphills and downhills, nothing steep at all. And again, since this is in a rainforest, it is likely to be raining, which meant we did get a little bit muddy. But even though it was raining, we still really enjoyed our time. It was also just so cool to see the different kinds of foliage here than what I'm used to on the East Coast. And the views all around were just spectacular. So we made it down to Nugget Falls to take some pictures with this beautiful waterfall. And since it is still springtime, the water is flowing a lot more than it probably would at the end of the summer. Look at how beautiful this waterfall is. You can even see the spray coming off of it. Years and years and years ago, this glacier used to cover this whole area that we were standing in. And years before that, the glacier even went to the visitor center, so it covered the entire mile that we walked to these falls. So it's pretty crazy to look at this whole landscape and know that it used to all be covered by a glacier. And here is what Mendenhall Glacier looks like today. So we made the hike back to get on our bus, and right before we got on the bus, we saw another bald eagle. We've seen a lot more bald eagles here in Alaska than I've ever seen in my entire life. So then we got back on our bus that would take us back to our cruise ship and we said goodbye to Juneau. We had such a great day in Juneau.